just some thoughts I put down as to what I thought were some of the issues that you would have to address in terms of cultural adaptation. Admittedly, it was probably limited. That's why I put Roman numeral 4. What other cultural challenges do you have that I haven't thought of? So 3 initially here. So number 1, discipleship tools such as Discipleship Essentials. So what adaptations are you going to have to make to your culture using a discipleship tool if you decide to use something like Discipleship Essentials? I would imagine literacy levels are a challenge in some settings. You know, do people, what level do people read and comprehend? B, what do you expect from somebody in a disciple-making setting? In relationship to the curriculum, how would you measure the initiative for study and preparation that a person can make? In other words, can you expect somebody to take a book like Discipleship Essentials and be able to read it and answer the questions in it? Or are you going to have to provide some kind of assistance to them? You're going to need some oral training, some oral work. So with that, in what ways can you envision using Discipleship Essentials as a resource? So those are just some stimulating thoughts to work through the curriculum side of things. Then the issues around duration of commitment. You know, how long can people sustain a commitment to a discipleship-making relationship and engagement with the lessons? Is it reasonable for people to stay with a commitment for a year or longer and then to adopt a lifestyle of discipling? This is a big issue even in the United States. You know, asking somebody to commit to something for a year, oh my gosh. In fact, a lot of the prevailing wisdom is you can only offer these very short courses. People's attention span is only for 6 weeks long. You can only take that kind of time. That drives me nuts, and when people say that kind of thing, because it's really selling short the whole discipleship process. So what duration of commitment level can you expect or expand on? Would you need more of a short-term commitment, like 2 months, initially to engage someone in the process and then ask them to extend a commitment? And then number 3 here, this is maybe the most important one under duration of commitment, patterns of connecting. Given the rhythms of life in the U.S., we can get people together for 90 minutes a time for once a week. What would be the best rhythm for connecting in your setting, keeping in mind the environment of transformation? So Pradeep has already shared with us earlier that with some of his key leaders, I think it is, you get together for once a month for about a day and a half. People have to travel some distances. They can't get together on a once-a-week basis. For people more locally related, you can get together in an evening once a week. Yeah. So what are the rhythms and patterns that match your culture that would work best in terms of how you gather people together? And then lastly, nature of relationships. In order to create the environment of transformation, the basic assumption that an atmosphere of trust that leads to transparency and openness. What obstacles might you face along these lines? We've talked about that quite a bit here, haven't we? The cultures that are resistance to that sharing of life together and coming in on an equal basis, the shame-based cultures that would have a hard time talking about those things within themselves, and this seemed to be a pretty broad issue that was there. So go back and revisit that issue in terms of the sharing. Here's another one. Can a pastor engage on an equal basis with people in their churches or ministry in this honest environment? How would a pastor be viewed in these smaller discipling relationships? One for you to wrestle with. I think we hit the pay dirt here. Because I've observed this in other times that I've taught, that especially with the hierarchical cultures or the elevation of the role of pastor, it's for the pastor to sort of descend to the level of his people and share life with them can be a challenge. Well, what is that challenge? And then looking at the other 3 core climactic conditions to create an environment for transformation, How might you foster these in your setting? Truth and community, life change accountability, and missional outreach. Don't need to go into detail about those, hopefully. So this is going to be potentially a beginning worksheet. When we break up here in a little bit, I want you to make sure you are meeting with the teams of people that you would be going back with, or people potentially from common cultural settings, and addressing these issues together and work through these things, talk them through, brainstorm, problem solve, and try to come up with ways to address some of these cultural challenges. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Don't want to delay too much longer here because we want to get you to work, and then we'll be coming back a little later on for some more Q&A this afternoon. But Pradeep, why don't you come on up and talk with us a little bit about some of the adaptation that you've done to your ministry setting. Take a few minutes to do that, and then we're going to send you off to get some work done here.
Yeah, in adaptation part, we did, again, a little bit different. Again, we read the book Transforming Discipleship, and the core value we found was the Jesus' method of come and see, come and follow, and come and be. So as already there is a rumor about discipleship, so we don't do much come and see because already we have a setting and connection. So we started come and follow training that was a little bit broader in a size, 20 to 30 men and women of God, and we gathered together and we spent about 2-3 times or 3 months a period of time, and we asked the Lord to show us who can be that person who can come and be. And normally we choose about 10 people for come and be, and spend almost 12 to 15 months with them, every month, 1.5 days. So during that time, we see the ups and downs in their life. So that really scares me. Sometimes people are like a Peter, very excited initial few months and then go somewhere. Sometimes people will start very slow, but they will come up as a number one at the end. So we see and we trust the Lord as we go together and we see God working in them and shaping them. So that has worked well. So as it worked in our ministry, then Lord spoke to me, why only within your ministry go beyond this? So we started this training called the Discipleship and Church Planting. As already I mentioned that we are in a pioneering stage, so we cannot stay in, we need to go out. And now we are doing in 6 places this training is running. And we call it the level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is come and follow, see what is there. And if someone is called, if he feels and we feel and Lord chooses, then we go to next level with the fewer people come and be. And we have seen that marvelous things have happened. Every month, hundreds of people through these groups are coming to the Lord. And tens of people are being trained by them. So in Come and Be, there's another mandatory thing is we take turn. We play a game, like we say, scene in a bag or something. We put a question in a bag and they need to choose one. And question is about some lesson. And they need to come and they need to teach the group. So they get out of the fear and they learn how to teach. So in level 2 or Come and Be, they are practicing within and they go out and throughout the month, they need to teach those who have recently come to the Lord. So they are able to teach them, equip them, the new believers. And as Brother Todd was sharing about the generation, we are following that too. And we we are praying that when it goes to fourth generation, it will be like out of our control. And I want to see that. In some of our contexts, we have seen the third generation so far. And within one training, we saw in come and follow, we taught them you need to go and witness others. And this man went out and witnessed other people and brought few of them into the training next time. So, well, why did you bring them? They are so new, but I was wrong. Because that person turned into a very powerful evangelist, and he was in the Come and Be, and he is leading one church, one of our churches. So it was just a matter of 1.5 years altogether, and he's leading one church. So we never know. So we just trust the Lord and we go on. So we are so pleased that we are able to kick off some discipleship movement in our country, but still we are not satisfied. And these are the people, they go then discipleship essential. So Dr. Greg, just for your information, your both books are going parallel in our context, and we have taken it, and we're sorry if we have damaged it too much in contextualization. Thank you.
Thank you. So now's the time. We are at 3:30. I'm gonna change the schedule here, Jim. I know. Horror of horrors, because I think you need a good amount of time together at this point in time. So I'm going to say, let's at least take a half hour in your groups and gather sort of with those that you can work with, and go to, what page is that we're on here? Page 43. Use that as a guide to guide you through some of the issues that you need to address, especially around the whole issue of quads and disciple-making groups, the application issues that are there, and do some problem solving as it comes up, but work your way through that. And if you have other things that you want to bring up, great. But now is the time to start kind of focusing in on how are we going to implement this back in our own settings, okay? So you can you can leave the room if you want. Go out on the tables outside. Group up, but get yourself knee to knee and dig in.